Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. This is Week 13 Fantasy Football Rankings. We're talking quarterbacks and tight ends in this video. If you'd like to look at the running back or wide receiver rankings, you can check the channel page and you'll be able to find those videos for this week. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, can't forget to mention please hit the like button, please subscribe for more content. Now let's get into it. 1 and 2 elite options: Patrick Mahomes versus Denver and Russell Wilson versus the Giants. Neither matchup scares you. Both options are incredible MVP candidates, so roll them up. Number 3, Deshaun Watson versus Indianapolis. Now, he doesn't have Will Fuller in this game, so he might be a little bit. It might be a little bit more difficult for him, but that rushing upside never goes away. He always seems to find a guy to score, whether it's a tight end like Darren Fells or Jordan Akins, or I'm sure Brandon Cooks and Duke Johnson are going to get plenty of catches as well. So I still trust Deshaun Watson even in a bad matchup against Indianapolis. It is a division game, so sometimes they're kind of unpredictable. Kyler Murray comes in at number 4. He's got a terrible matchup against the Rams, but obviously he's been the number 1 quarterback all year, so you can't drop him too far down. But I'm a bit worried about Kyler Murray. 4 is mostly a respect ranking. I feel like if it was any other name, he'd probably be closer to 8 or 10, maybe even outside the top 10, because the Rams' defense is pretty legit, and they're going to take this game very seriously. So be a little bit tentative with what you expect from Kyler Murray this week. Number 5, Lamar Jackson. He's proven that he can really disappoint you, so that's why I only have him at 5. But it's a great matchup, and he's going to be motivated after missing last week's game against Pittsburgh with the COVID situation. So he's going up against Dallas, and I just can't imagine they're going to be able to stop him. I think he's going to run all over them. So great upside for Lamar Jackson this week, and he comes in at number 5 for me. Then I got Aaron Rodgers versus Philadelphia. Not a matchup that scares you either. And Aaron Rodgers seems to get it done week in and week out. He's got a lot more weapons than I think he kind of gets credit for. In Green Bay, Allen Lazard seems to be coming through. He made Equanimeous St. Brown a thing a couple weeks ago. MVS always pops his head in every now and then. And Robert Tonyan seems to do well. He has a good matchup this week. Robert Tonyan does. And then these running backs, both of them catch passes and both of them get yards. So this team moves the ball, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good game. I got him at quarterback 6 this week. Number 7, a bit of a surprise, but when you really look at the numbers, it's not. It shouldn't be. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Cincinnati. As long as he gets the start, he slings the ball. He's very aggressive, moving it down the field, and he's not afraid to throw picks. And what's great about when you throw a pick is you often get the ball right back, and then you're in great game script to keep throwing it. So Fitzpatrick should have a great game as long as Tua is not healthy enough to start. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that thumb keeps him out one more week, and Ryan Fitzpatrick pulls through in our DFS lineup this week. He's a great option, very undervalued. Number 8, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's normally way higher, but I can't ignore the fact that he's going up against Bill Belichick and that he's a rookie quarterback. And at some point, the wheels kind of have to fall off. There has to be some type of game where Justin Herbert can't figure things out. Now, I believe in Justin Herbert. I think he's a really talented, really smart player, but rookie quarterbacks against Bill Belichick never do well. It just doesn't really work out. I mean, even Kyler Murray last week, he's not a rookie anymore, but he struggled mightily against Bill Belichick. The good news is that it's in Los Angeles. It's not in Foxborough, so weather isn't really a factor there. But I just don't really trust Anthony Lynn's play calling, and I think they're going to try and run the ball a bit more with Austin Ekeler. So that's why I have Justin Herbert only at number 8. He's still a great option. It's hard to consider benching him, but you may have a better option given how cheap it was to acquire Herbert throughout the season. Josh Allen comes in at number 9. I think a kind of a weird matchup for him at San Francisco. They seem to be in this weird limbo zone where they could shut someone out or completely let them blow out. That's the 49ers defense that I'm talking about. Josh Allen's kind of hard to trust when John Brown isn't in the lineup. He's just not firing on all cylinders. He hasn't hit his upside as easily. So I'm a little concerned for Josh Allen traveling across the country, but not enough to take him outside the top 10. At 10, I've got Ben Roethlisberger versus Washington. His receiving options are great, so that's the way that this team chooses to move the ball, and his stats are ballooned by his receivers. But Washington isn't necessarily a great matchup, but they should win pretty easily. So Roethlisberger should be a safe play this week. Then I've got Ryan Tannehill versus Cleveland at number 11. And 11 through 20 is pretty interesting. There's a lot of great matchups here, and this would be a great week to stream quarterbacks if you need to. Let's say you have Tom Brady as your starter, who's on bye this week. There's a lot of great matchups here in the streaming tier of quarterbacks. Ryan Tannehill is my favorite. Cleveland doesn't have Denzel Ward, as we mentioned, so that shouldn't scare you. And he's got A.J. Brown, so he doesn't really need to throw the ball very much to get a 70, 50-yard touchdown score. And that really helps him. Sometimes he runs him in. He's a good fantasy quarterback, and I like his matchup a lot this week. Then we got Taysom Hill at Atlanta, who had a great game 2 weeks ago, but I'm not too excited about that happening yet again. I think Atlanta is playing better defense, and now that they've seen Taysom Hill in person, they're going to have a better game plan for him this week. I still like his floor, given the rushing attempts and the weapons on his team to help him out, but Taysom Hill is only number 12 for me in a great matchup on paper. Derek Carr at the Jets. I know he had a terrible dud last week. I had him pretty high. I'll own the mistake, but I feel like they have to bounce back. They're going up against the Jets. The Jets can't stop anyone, and they have to feel motivated to right the ship after just completely shitting the bed. At least Derek Carr shit the bed last week. So I don't expect those fumbles. I don't expect his linemen to force him to fumble. It should be a lot better. Darren Waller, Nelson Aguilar, they should have pretty good games, and Josh Jacobs too. And then Kirk Cousins versus Jacksonville. I don't think he's going to score 3 touchdowns every week. I don't think Dalvin Cook is going to get injured in every game. So, as much as I love the matchup here for Kirk Cousins, he's typically not even in consideration for me. So that he's definitely higher than I would expect him to be. But Kirk Cousins, hard to trust given how little this team throws the ball. They want to run it as much as possible because it's really hard to trust Kirk Cousins. Ask any Vikings fan out there; they're not too happy about it. Cam Newton comes in at number 15 against the Chargers. Cam Newton typically has a good floor, but can be kind of taken out of any game at this point, it seems. So I'm not that excited about him. Then I got Matthew Stafford at Chicago and Mitchell Trubisky in the same game right after him. Trubisky has a bit more intrigue and upside, but obviously you can't really, trust the Bears offense and Matt Nagy play calling. So Stafford comes in higher. Then the next 4 have great matchups. Jared Goff at Arizona, Phillip Rivers at Houston, Baker Mayfield at Tennessee, and Sam Darnold versus Las Vegas. But you just can't trust any of them. They can all shit the bed themselves. So I'm staying away. This is my least preferred streaming options. Hopefully you can find one better. But like I said, the matchups are all really great, so they could prove me wrong and put up some decent games. And then through the top 30, I'll just highlight a couple names. Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, I don't trust at all. Matt Ryan going against New Orleans, terrible matchup. Carson Wentz, he's probably going to throw 3 picks. It wouldn't surprise anybody. And that's it for quarterbacks. We don't need to touch on anyone else. Lastly, tight ends. Travis Kelce, elite option. Travis Card, never benching him. Darren Waller, very, very good matchup against the Jets. He's always number 2, so obviously you have him in your lineup. Mark Andrews versus Dallas should have a pretty good game. Him and Lamar Jackson were out of last game, so I think they're going to be very eager to get back on the field and score a few touchdowns. Next, I got TJ Hawkinson, who seems to be a steady riser in the tight end rankings. I love his stock next year, especially. Matt Patricia just got fired, so they might unleash Stafford and Hawkinson this week. Hopefully, the play calling is much better, and at least the energy in the locker room is going to be more optimistic because it was clear this team was not a fan of Matt Patricia. So it's a good thing he's gone. Then I got Hunter Henry, very reliable tight end. He doesn't have too much upside, but at number 5 in tight ends, you can't really ask for more than what the floor that he provides. If Gronk was playing, he would come in around here for me, but he's not. He's on bye. So then I got Dallas Goedert, Hayden Hurst, Logan Thomas, 3 more volume plays at the tight end position. They don't necessarily have good matchups, the 3 of them, but they should be top 10 tight ends. Then the next 5 are much more matchup based flyers. I got Robert Tonyan versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and Noah Fant at Kansas City to round out the top 10. And then Austin Hooper at Tennessee, Mike Gesicki versus Cincinnati Bengals, and Jordan Reed versus Buffalo. They all have great matchups, but they're all dart throws. But they do have pretty decent target floors. So that runs out my top 13. If you're interested in the rest of the rankings, you can check my Instagram page, Nice and Blunt, no spaces. And please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed and stayed to the end. Thank you so much, as I greatly appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and see you next week.